Hi, my name is Paul Meadows. I'd like to first thank you for showing an interest in me sharing my story today. I hope you'll find it helpful, resourceful, and yeah, let's start off the presentation and everything that I'm going to go through today with regards to my own experiences. So, I work for West Northants Council. Um, I'm in the school transport area. I'm a mental health first aider. I sit on the Disabled Employees Network, and I am a founder of Sends for Dad in my spare time. Now, why did all this happen, and where do I start from? Well, basically, going back, my son was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. Now, some parents may kind of associate or know about this feeling, but a lot of parents go through a period of mourning. Now, when I say mourning, it's when you look at it, the ideal that people have when they first hear of having a child is all their dreams. They're going to grow up, they're going to do this, they're going to get married, and everything else. And then when you first hear that your child may have a disability, that seems to disappear. It seems to have gone, like you're mourning of something that's supposed to have happened. Now, that wasn't really the case for me. It was more of, okay, I'm in this situation now. I'm going to enter a totally new world of an area that I had no idea what I could expect, what would happen, and how I could support my son going forward. So I did what most likely a lot of parents do, invested in numerous books, just trying to read up and everything else. But as life kind of takes hold of you, those books ended up on the bookshelf, um, just basically gathering dust, which wasn't really helpful. So at that time, I saw basically an advert for a voluntary group. It was Northamptonshire Parent Forum Group. Now, basically, they are a group of parents that basically try and have an input into the services that are provided. So I thought, what better way to actually learn than to be involved, find out from other parents, but also be able to have an input into how the services, because I might need them in the future. Now, whilst doing this, I found that the vast majority of the support groups were mainly aimed at female carers, and those that weren't, and they were mixed, generally a father or male carer would come along and they were quite quiet. They weren't comfortable enough to talk about their own situations freely. So what happened is I did experience a period of mental ill health, and I thought the best way to kind of help me was to try and get support from dads, so I could be, so that I could feel more comfortable to talk to them, that they truly understood some of the experiences, would be able to give tips and everything else. Now, because I'd worked with Northants Parent Forum Group, I knew that I had two options. So it was either wait until one was formed or to actually start something else myself. So December 2014, Sense for Dad was created, and I started work on finding venues that would be suitable, where we could meet, there we could have a chat, we could find some form of activity that we could do, socialize and everything else. So eventually, on the 13th of April 2015, the first social night took place. Initially, it was attended by myself and 2 others. And over the years, this group has kind of grown. And we do have regular dads that attend. There are some that kind of dip in and out when they need to, and that is the whole point of the group, really. That that the dads that do attend, there's no pressure on them that they've got to come every week. Now, to kind of give you some statistics and some kind of background on what the group really is about, in the UK, men are 3 times as likely to die of suicide than women. The highest rate of suicide amongst men is between the ages of 45 to 49. Now, that's statistics of 2018 coming from the Samaritans. Now, through the group, some members have expressed feelings of self-harm to themselves. And because we've kind of known each other, we support each other through this, and we're able to talk to the dads themselves, give them support, and basically it has helped a lot of the dads in those situations. It is also worth noting that as parents, we have started to see a worrying trend of our young people starting to self-harm. And so it is a common theme within families with a child with disability or special educational needs, that there is a lot of cases of mental ill health. Now, some statistics also show that 1/3 of disabled children live with a lone parent, compared to 1/4 of children without a disability. Now, it's worth also noting that 50% of the regular attendees of the Sense for Dad group have seen a breakdown of their relationships. Now, this is one of the key areas with regards to why the group is there. Because it gives the dads and male carers an avenue to be able to go out, have time to themselves, and basically not feel alone. There is this culture amongst some of the dads, or in general, where a man has got to be seen to be the strong one, and not talk about things. And the thing is, this is not about you've got a problem, you've got an issue. It's just kind of, being able to talk, because it is hard to explain to anyone that does not have a child with special needs the types of strains and pressures that you experience, in addition to those that are experienced by the majority of families. Now, financial issues are quite common amongst families, as sometimes this may mean one partner has to give up employment to care for their child. And there may also be additional expenses for equipment, washing, etc. Families also tend to have to battle for support for the children, and all of these become a real strain on our family units. Now, for Sends for Group especially, Sends for Dads especially, providing support for dads during the pandemic was particularly difficult. Social interaction was of course reduced to zero, and whilst we did attempt to do some online seminars, some online chats, it was hard to fill that gap, and a lot of dads wouldn't actually come onto them, expressing interest, but it was down to them finding the time, finding the area for them to be able to do this. Now, we did provide some one-to-one support for dads and male carers in Northamptonshire in particular that were finding it hard. Now, a lot of this was via telephone or could have been via video, and it usually was on an ad hoc basis. And a lot of themes that we noticed during that times were that dads and male carers were starting to notice the true needs of their child that a father would not necessarily see on a regular basis. Now, also as well, the situation with COVID also had a major effect on our children in how they saw things, and life in general was made a lot harder for them. With this, there started to be the obvious strains in relationships as things start to get more difficult. And the dads and male carers did start to look for advice for helping their child through their current situation, or just that they wanted to have a chat. Now, Sense of Dad is not a mental health service. We're just a group that can actually relate to what they are going through. Looking back over our regular attendance, with the 50% that have had relationship breakdowns and splits in the family, they've this kind of was heightened during lockdown, and we did have quite a few where the relationships, unfortunately, they did separate, and we've been finding since then that this is continued, and demand for the group is growing, and we're rapidly becoming an essential service, with the onus of people, with dads, Malco's being able to talk with others about their own real life experience. And I run this group in my spare time. A lot of the times it's by myself. So we are starting to kind of get to that point where a lot of people are coming through, are contacting me. So the main aim of Sends for Dad is to provide those social opportunities for dads and male carers to get together with people in similar circumstances. It's to ensure they have access to social media avenues to discuss their issues, but above all, celebrate successes. Because that is one of the key things that a lot of families don't understand or appreciate. We celebrate the small things that happen. A child, a child can eat a certain food. Now we can be absolutely ecstatic because they normally would not try anything else, and we have a huge battle for them to try and eat a varied diet. So we appreciate it, and that's why people in the group can actually celebrate with you. They can appreciate that those small things make such a difference in your family life. Now we look at events, not just for dads, but for the family, where the dads and male carers can actually bond with their children in an environment where there are other dads, there are other male carers that understand, that get it, and it makes them feel more comfortable in their environment, so that if their child does show some challenging behaviours, there are people around there that are not going to show, ways in which they're disgusted or they don't understand. And that is what stops a lot of our dads and a lot of our families going out publicly, is the looks, the feelings that you get from others, from members of the public, which make you feel bad, that makes you feel like a bad parent. And it's not. People just do not understand it. Now, we run regular events in Northampton. Now, these include a weekly activity club every Sunday, which is at the Frank Bruno Foundation. Now, this is from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. At the moment, people think, oh, the Frank Bruno Foundation, that's boxing. Now, whilst there is an element of boxing, it is more non-contact boxing, but it's not boxing all the time. Yeah, okay, you may go on the punch bag. You're not really hitting someone. You're learning how to keep your posture, how to use your footwork, how to keep balance. But as well, during those sessions, we may do a bit of circuit training. We may do tag, we may do tug of war, dodgeball, and it's pretty much geared to those that attend. So we have dads come along, we have children that come along. One of the success stories that we've had is a child that wasn't very much, was a non-verbal autistic child. When they first started, they wouldn't talk to anyone. Then over the periods that they come, eventually he actually went up to a child who he didn't know, and he asked them if he wanted to play chess. Now, we also have a load of board games there that children can play, or even adults that they can play and go into another room. So this child went off, played chess, and it was fantastic. His dad was absolute ecstatic. Now, even one step further, he will come into the area where we do the exercising, and he will take part for a few minutes and then go out the room. Just to make those few minutes is just amazing. So he has come on leaps and bounds. That's given his dad and more confidence, greater appreciation of his child, and also, that, over time and giving that time to our children, they can develop, they can learn. It's just finding that time and those ways to kind of get them. It is also an area where dads can just come and get that time away. So we've got an area where they can get teas and coffees, sit down, have a chat, read a book, play a bit of table football if they want to with their child, or with another dad, or they can just go in and play some of the board games. So it's not just about the physical activities, but it's also about all the other well-being. And as well, what I'm hoping to do over time is to get services to come in, have drop-in sessions, go through and present what they can provide to our fathers, to our male carers, and to their families, to give them that information to make them feel involved. Now, we also have a monthly social night, which is generally at a public house. We usually play pool, have a chat, and just have just wind down. Some dads come along and they will talk, they will go through things, and that's okay. We do have a monthly breakfast morning at Cafe Track, which is on Northampton Market Square. And for those that are not aware of Cafe Track, it is a place where it encourages and is for basically people with autism. They help encourage them to go into employment, paid employment. It is autism friendly. They have a sensory element downstairs where anyone can go and kind of have a chill out. So dads bring along their child, or they can come by themselves. And we have had successes where a child has not eaten certain things before and literally had tried a bacon sandwich. His dad was ecstatic, not just because it was bacon, but because he tried something different. He ate something different in front of everyone. Now, we also run wellbeing days, family fun days, and sci-fi comic conventions, which I'm hoping to kind of take a little bit further and have like a games club. We've had days at local sporting events, so at the Saints, at the Cobblers, and also done other activities which have included boat trips, foot golf, and Nerf wars, which we had dads against children, and obviously you can tell, or you can kind of guess that the children really loved ganging up on their dads. So if you want to know further, or you want to pass this on to anyone that may be interested in the group, there are different ways. Now, currently I do a lot of the communication and publicising through Facebook. Now, we do have a closed group where dads and male carers can go in, they can join it, and they can celebrate successes, do the questions, and that is for dads anywhere, absolute anywhere. So we've got people in there from Malta, America, Scotland. It's not just for Northampton, Northamptonshire, it's for all over the country. Then we also have a Sense for Dad page. Now that is where I put the main bulk of any information. So I share any post or anything that I see elsewhere on other pages, services that I think may be useful for our families. Then I have a Northampton Sense for Dad page, which is basically for families that live within Northampton. I also have one for Kettering and Corby. Now, I'm not just limited to those three areas. If there is a need, then I'll create Facebook pages for them. It would be nice if could also set up meeting groups in Kettering, Corby and other areas. But as it's just me, you know, I am always looking for people to suggest some suitable venues for dads to meet up, but also some help in me running those and be able to kind of you know, meet up with people, greet them, and everything else. And finally, I have a page for the activity club. So on there, it'll be a case of if we're having any particular person come in or a special event, people can find it there. Sometimes the club might be closed due to unforeseen circumstances, and so you know we ask the attendees for that group to obviously keep an eye on that page. We also have a messenger group, which is mainly for dads and male carers that are in Northamptonshire. So that's West and North Northamptonshire. And a lot of dads use it for just day-to-day chatting, nothing to do with their child, their families, anything to do with disabilities. It's just a general chat. But we do have the times where dads will come on and ask for guidance, ask for tips, or it will be about where they need help, where they need to talk, where they are suffering with regards to their mental health. Yeah, and we'd like to set up a group where it's needed in the community and then provide those further services to help them. Now, also as well, believe it or not, I've been able to set up a TikTok and I do on time product specific videos. I am hoping at some point to do some educational, informational videos and take that forward. We do have Instagram account and a Twitter account. I'm not very up to date with Twitter. I'm not a fan of it. I will start trying to use it a bit more, but it's one of the lesser ones that I use to communicate. Also have a website, www.sensfordad.org.uk. Now, any dads that would like to be added to our email distribution list, there is a registration form on there, and any dad that would like to come to our events, even if they're on Facebook or not, if they can register through there, it will also help us to kind of look at some statistics, what's needed and where, and we can then look at providing those in the future. During lockdown, I knew that dads were particularly struggling and wanting certain guidance and everything else, so I did start to do some podcasts. Now they are on Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Casts and Radio Public, so all you got to do is just search for Sense for Dad. The thing is, as I was doing these, we just come out of lockdown, and a lot of the dads were really wanting to be able to get out, to socialise, to get that break away from everything and be able to talk. So I was kind of pulled away from those podcasts. I'm hoping to start them back up again so that any dads or any male carers can go on there and obviously listen to them and when they can, so they can pause and just do it when they can. I will be looking for anyone that is interested in interviewing or being interviewed to go on there and on certain subjects. again, you can get in touch with me. For anyone that does have any questions, do have an email, which is sendsfordad@gmail.com. Now, this is for any services that would like to get some more information, how we can work together, and generally just help people or dads and male carers and their families. And especially if you are able to offer any help with regards to well-being, mental health, that would be really great, because it is something that is becoming quite urgently needed within our group. I'd like to thank you for your time today. I hope you have found this useful, and that it's given you thought. If there are any dads that would like to contact me and talk to me, please do. You've got my email. We can arrange a meeting. Come along to our events. Sometimes I've had dads that have sat in the car park for months because they didn't think that they could come in to the group, come into one of our activities. And once they have found it absolutely helpful to them. I have had a wife of one of our dads send a message to me thanking me for the group and that it had saved their marriage. Talking, having those moments and being able to spend time with people that get it are vital. They help you, they help your child, and they help your family. So please, please do look to kind of reaching out, and hopefully you'll be able to come along to one of our sessions. Okay, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Virtual Wellbeing Festival. Thank you. Bye.